joking about where's my entourage? This is it. And it's great to hear a little Alan Doyle on the way up here, so I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Thank you, merci. On est réunis sur le territoire traditionnel et non cédé des peuples algonquins and Anishinaabe. So, good to be back. Thank you, Sean. Thank you to everybody here at the CBTU for letting me share a few words with you. As Sean said, you know, former Minister of Natural Resources, current Minister of Labor. I can tell you I have been in a hell of a lot of boardrooms and ballrooms. I've been around a lot of tables with employers. I've been around a lot of tables with unions. And from all of those meetings, one thing is crystal clear. Relationships matter. Relationships matter. They matter in business because, well, unless you want to make the lawyers right, you got to trust the person sitting across the table from you. Relationships matter because they drive understanding, which in turn drives mutual compromise, which in turn drives productivity, which in turn drives prosperity. Relationships matter because they help people know each other. And if you know each other, then there's a good chance that you're going to be able to work with each other. And I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that so much depends on this relationship. Your success as workers, our success as a government, Canada's success as an economy, as a nation. Notre pays fait face à de grands défis. Coût de la vie, crise du logement, pénurie de main-d'œuvre, changement climatique, intelligence artificielle, une guerre en Europe. Mais ces défis sont aussi des opportunités. L'opportunité de former plus de travailleurs, de construire plus de logements, d'écoles et d'hôpitaux, de réduire les émissions, de développer les énergies renouvelables, de sécuriser nos sources d'énergie. Let's be honest. As much as we're counting on you, you're also counting on us. You're counting on us to listen, to act, to get out of the way when we have to do whatever we have to do to make sure that you can get the job done. That's what smart governments do. They listen to the people who know best. We have been listening. We've been listening to Sean. We've been listening to Lana Payne. We've been listening to Bea Bruss, to Gil McGowan, to Joe Mancinelli, to people like Darren King out my way. And what they have been saying are two, more than that, but let's narrow it down to two important things. First, they keep telling me that unions need a seat at the table for big decisions like their labor shortage and the energy transition. And to that I say, I said it here last year too, workers have a hell of a lot more than a seat at the table. They will lead it. They will lead it. You will lead it. I mean, I appreciate the applause, but I mean, who else do you think is going to do it? Right, frankly, who else knows how to train electricians and carpenters and bricklayers? Who else knows how to properly tighten a flange? Who else knows how to erect a wind turbine or a solar panel? Who else knows where on an oil pipeline you know where to twist, to tighten, to make sure the methane doesn't leak? All that. You will lead it. And this isn't just rhetoric. You know, later this year we're launching, and it's called, name gives it away, the Union-Led Advisory Table, to help workers succeed in a changing labor market, to help workers leverage automation. I know. It took me months to come up with that branding. But it's about how do we deal with automation? How do we deal with AI? ChatGPT's got the life scared out of me as a former political staffer, I got to tell you. I was actually at a meeting of ministers of labor from provinces and territories, my colleagues, and somebody said, have you used it yet? I said, no. So I entered in, you know, a 3-paragraph non-committal letter to a constituent from a member of parliament on automation. I got 3 paragraphs of pure non-committal gold. I couldn't believe it. Took me years as a young fellow to be able to write that sort of nonsense. But you know, that's the stuff that we're confronting. How do we train the next generation of skilled trades? So that's it. So those tables, we're following up. The union-led advisory table. Second, they're always telling me that big jobs need big resources. Every conversation I have with labor leadership, we talk about the scale of the challenges and the opportunities that are presented to workers. Almost 500,000 people will move to Canada this year alone. 500,000, and they're going to need a place to live. We have got the biggest labor shortage that we have seen in generations. We need hundreds of thousands more skilled trade workers in the next 5 years alone. You know that. Hundreds of thousands. And we have to change the way that we power our homes, our cars, our lives until now. And if you're going to build more roads, more homes, more hospitals, more training centers, if you're going to train the next generation of leaders, of builders, if you're going to build up a renewable energy sector to power this country, then you're going to need some backing. I'm here to tell you, we have your back. And it is time to build. We are betting big on you, just like that commercial on Sportsnet. We are betting big. On October 1st of this year, we are introducing 5 new green tech tax credits, encouraging industry to invest and to help build clean electricity, clean hydrogen, clean tech manufacturing, and carbon capture. We are investing over $80 billion in these tax credits, and each one of those tax credits has a big string attached. Companies have to hire union workers or pay their workers a prevailing wage to get the full benefit, and that prevailing wage will be defined by you. I appreciate it. I was up here on this podium and told you we'd do that, so you have no idea how relieved I am. Because it's one thing to have the rhetoric, but it's another thing, and I know this, to show you that we mean it. Real money. And 10% of the tradesperson hours, by the way, must be done by Red Seal apprentices. That's another big, important string attached. Big one. Apprentices, yeah. So this is an entire industry that is going to be built by workers with good union jobs. We are at an inflection point, the kind that only comes every 5 or 6 generations. The green energy industrial revolution that you heard, is coming. It's here. It's here. We need to build big things that are going to be around for 5 or 6 generations. The race is on. Right now, companies are deciding where to invest and where to build, and they are looking around wondering who is going to lead. And guess what? Those tax credits that we just announced in the budget have already shot Canada to number 2 in the world for places to invest in renewables and green energy. Number 2. We're second only to the United States. Give us a few months. It's time to build. So, you tell us what you need. You tell us what you need to build, and we'll do it. When you told us you needed tax-deductible travel and relocation expenses, we listened. We listened. $565 million back to you over the next 5 years. You can claim those expenses on your taxes right now, if you're a little late this year. When you told us that workers needed more help to pay for the cost of tools, we listened. We put down $11 million over the next 10 years to double your tax deduction on trade tools from $500 to $1,000. When you told us you needed help to train and recruit more apprentices, we listened. $25 million in the Union Training Center program every year. And when you told us that workers shouldn't have to choose between getting paid and getting well, we passed a law that allows for 10 paid days of sick leave for workers in federally regulated industries. Because you told us, and we listened, and we acted. And when you told us that the time for replacement workers was up, that they were distracting from the negotiating table, that using them divided families and communities and poisoned workplaces for years afterwards, we listened, we agreed. Legislation banning replacement workers will be introduced in the House of Commons by the end of this year. Because you told us, and we listened, and it made sense, and we acted. The only reason we've been able to do all this, to invest so big and with so much confidence, is because we trust you. We trust unions. We have a relationship. We work with you. You tell us what you need. You push us. You hold us accountable, and that is a very good thing. Our relationships make some politicians nervous, and some politicians are scared of unions. They don't like to see workers united or pushing for more. You know, I got to tell you the story. You know, when President Biden stood in the House of Commons last month and he talked about an awful lot of things, the economy, trade, our shared support for Ukraine, and the conservatives stood up for all of it. They applauded for all that. But when the president talked about unions, they would not join us. They would not stand up and clap. They refused to stand up for you. There is nothing new in that. There's nothing new. You know that. 7 years ago, they weren't standing up for you. They weren't standing up. They were standing up against you. When we took office, we took 2 conservative laws on the books that tried to undermine you, Bills 525 and 377. We threw them on the scrap heap. That's not that long ago. And the primary champion of those 2 pieces of legislation is currently the leader of the opposition. It was an outright attack on the labor movement. One, as you know, made it harder for unions and workers to certify, easier for employers to decertify you. The other forced unions to show their finances so that employers knew exactly what cards you were holding when you went to the bargaining table, how long you could wait out a strike. We struck those bills down right away. And the bargaining table would look a whole lot different today if we hadn't. Earlier, I said that unions can't ignore politics because politics doesn't ignore unions. I think that's a great thing. When we work together, we get more done than either of us could on our own. And there's a lot more sinister side, unfortunately, to that truth. Everything that is won at the bargaining table can be taken away through deregulation or privatization or legislation. We cannot and we will not let that happen. I have no interest in going backward. This relationship that we have built is a good one. It is doing good things for this country, big things. And we're about to do something even bigger. More roads, more homes, more hospitals, a new generation of carpenters and electricians and welders, an energy industry that can power this country, lower emissions, and secure our supply. We are building new things, big things, new cars, new power grids, new neighborhoods. This is the time to build the homes in the cities that millions of people will call home. This is the time that we build up the energy, the industry that is going to power this country for generations. Change won't happen on its own. You're going to bring it. So let's bring it on. Time to build. Thank you. Merci. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you very much.